Welcome back to the RaceNuts podcast for the first time done remotely. As always, I'm joined by Ash. Mate, what is happening?
Mate, a week ago we had the Australian Grand Prix finish up for us. As always, great event. Um, Love attending it every year. This time we sat somewhere different. Turn 9 and 10, I believe.
Yes, yep.
Yes,
9, 10,
yep.
and formerly known as 12 and 13, I think it was, before the changes.
Yeah. That was different from our past times at Brabham, turns 1 and 2. It was awesome, great event as always. We got around heaps. I felt like we did more walking than we have maybe in previous years, just because we were so far away from the centre of everything. And
I'm a little bit on the fence because we're already planning our attack for next year, and I'm on the fence because I felt like the chicane was a better spot.
It was, and as good as it was, now that we started changing up what where we're sitting and all that, I would actually like to maybe try turn 3. That seemed to be a bit of an action zone for the weekend.
Yeah, I gotta suss that because I'm 9% sure that's all corporate, but I gotta find out.
Mate, I'll wear a suit. We'll look corporate. It'll be great.
No, it's not. It's more like trying to get tickets for corporate things. I like the corporate tickets are already going actually. For next year,
they would
like
be.
that. Not corporate tickets you and I can buy. Like, I think I saw something that was like for one of those suites in the Schumacher stand, and it was like 40 grand for one.
That's a lot, but that is also businesses buying. But who knows? RaceNuts might blow up in that time, and if we somehow get 40 grand of money to spend on a corporate suite, we'll have to bring a few followers and fans.
We have two options. We get 40 grand. Either A, corporate suite for one Grand Prix, or I was on my 105 the other day after trying the simulator. Formula Fords are only going for 50. 10 more grand. We could have a Formula Ford.
We could have a Formula Ford that we just gotta somehow then get to over race events.
It seems so easy, like, it's only 50 grand, and it's like, yeah, but if you back it into the wall in the first race, it's like another 35 to fix it again.
Yeah, you gotta have cash to do that. I'd like to go to, just wheeling us back, I'd like to go turn 3 possibly. If not, I would like to go turn 11 or maybe 12, 13, 14 kind of area. Just action-packed corners. The more I think about it, the more I think the Albert Park circuit is actually all corners that resemble 90 degrees in some form have action happening on them. Yeah, but the back straight, you don't get action besides the DRS zone and the overtaking coming into turns 9 and 10. So,
The thing that's got me on the fence, though, is the facilities behind where 9 and 10 suck.
Oh, yeah, they're dismal.
Walking around, it seemed like that was pretty much the only good facilities around the track was behind the main grandstand of Schumacher, Prost, and Prost and Fangio, and in Brabham. So it's like sort of, you're sitting in a less ideal spot, but also Pizza Hut's right behind you.
Yeah.
And a McDonald's, I feel like...
what's it called? The fry-through?
The fry-through.
That they had? Yeah.
I don't know if
that was awesome.
I don't know if this social... it came up on socials anyway. I should grab the photo of it. It was a giant McDonald's chip packet that was like a mini McDonald's inside.
Yeah, it was laying down on its back. So next time you get a Macca's, grab a bloody, medium or large chip packet, lay it down, and then imagine that, but it's a McDonald's fry-through. And we didn't order from there, but I believe they would have had a limited menu of like maybe 8 of their most selling items.
All I saw was people getting chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
With fuzz mix, that's all I would have got either.
Oh, yeah. With your barbecue plum sauce.
But the only saving grace, at least from our side, was the glorious V8 pizza truck.
Oh, the pizza truck. Yeah.
And I got to give it my second visit or third visit of this year.
And we're only 3 months into the year, mate.
Yeah, I know. The only thing I'm more assaulted by was it wasn't the usual people working there that know me by name or should by now considering how often I'm there.
Mate,
But
you are one of the regulars. You attend as many events as they do.
oh yeah, and more insulting, they changed the name of their meat lovers from a
Oh,
V8
V8.
pizza to a
Yep.
pepperoni. So I went there and I asked old mate like, "Oh, can I go with a V8 pizza, please, mate?" He goes, "What's a V8 pizza?" I'm like, "The V8. It's on the signage, mate." And he looked
Mate,
at me. He looked at me like I was the Looney Tune. Like, oh, you called it a pepperoni. Give me a pizza, dude.
just give me a pizza with a bit of meat on it. That's all I ask for in life.
Yeah. That and better boxes because I've done well. I haven't lost a single pizza yet, but one day it will happen. I will
Oh, mate.
lose a pizza off the side of that little bit of cardboard.
Well, in terms, when I took two pizzas back to the seats, they were handing out the little chairs for the pizzas, so you could stack your pizzas and they wouldn't touch. But I just didn't grab one of those chairs, and that left me with the result of the 250-meter walk back to the chair. I pulled up the top pizza, and it actually pulled up both pizzas, and I had to like jiggle the bottom pizza down, and I took half the toppings with it too. So
I'm aware. I'm aware because it was my bloody pizza.
yeah, you got toppings taxed, mate.
Yeah. One time I got a Hawaiian. She was like, "Oh, last chance of the week. I'll try out one of these Hawaiians. Apparently pretty good." And you took the best part away. You gave me a plain pizza,
Mate, the moment the cheese stuck, it was game over for the rest of it.
Oh.
All right, so
before we jump into the main categories, we'll jump into a little bit of what was floating around. So we had on Thursday, the Ford Super Van was going around, the 4.2 all-electric Super Van.
Daniel Ricciardo behind the wheel for that too, I believe on most of its laps, maybe not all of its laps.
I think it was just him. I know, was it Scotty James, the snowboarder he's really good friends with? I think he did a couple.
Yeah, I think he was hanging around. Yeah.
Oh, he was definitely hanging around. The amount of content he's put out between him being one of Ricardo's best mates, and I think he's now Stroll's either brother-in-law or to-be brother-in-law.
Yeah, no, it's all happening once because all these people, they relate like that because they all live similar lifestyles in the sense of they're traveling the world, they're doing all this, so that doesn't come to it. Yeah, and that doesn't come to a surprise, and God knows how many athletes Red Bull has. It's in the thousands.
Yeah, well, no, he's got to keep going, or he might not be one of them. Anyway, so we had the Super Van, and that was awesome. Unfortunately, it was only running on Thursday. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we had the Doohans doing a lap. So Mick Doohan and Jack Doohan. Mick was on a modern-day MotoGP bike. Yep,
and Jack was in an old Benetton.
A 2000 Benetton 2000B, I think it was called.
Holy crap.
And it sounded awesome.
And all.
And I was really keen to see it do another lap until I got back to where we were sitting. Some people were sitting with us going, "Oh, did you see the smoke?" I went, "No." They went, "Oh, I came around here absolutely puffing smoke, and it's blown a hole in the gearbox, and that was its 3 or 4 only laps it would see." So I think that threw Jack into one of the classic cars for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't they have something else running around too?
Yeah, one of the demonstration cars.
Yeah, and on the note of historic cars, the brake failure that happened at turn 3 I'm not sure what car it was or anything. I only saw the video, but coming into turn 3, which is a 90-degree right-hander, I believe.
Yep.
It was coming in, started. Oh mate, obviously put his foot down, and there was nothing. So he just kept going, beelined it for the kiddie litter, but
I don't think there was any beelines. I think it was just prayer.
Oh yeah, well
it's out of control.
Yeah, and so coming into that corner way too fast, I had no control besides steering inputs that would do nothing at that speed. Even though they were just parade laps, they weren't racing or, trying to set a pace at all. They were just parading around, having a bit of fun behind the safety car, and then absolutely wiped out all mate in the car up in front. I think about even. I'm saying it's a 2-car collision, but I think we saw about 4 on the back of a tilt tray.
I think 2 broke down in both sessions they came out. There's always been a couple that breaks down.
Yeah, I mean they're old cars, and you can only look after them so well. And it's probably the one time or one of 3 times they run them a year.
No, a bit of off topic, but leading into this event, most of those cars were doing the historic series in New Zealand alongside the New Zealand Grand Prix, and then a lot of them were floated over for the Phillip Island historical event. So it was a bit of a 2-for-1 there, bringing them here to Australia back for Phillip Island. And I think even a couple might have done the Adelaide Motorsports Festival.
Yeah, that wouldn't be surprising. I mean, once you have the cars out, you have them out kind of thing. You run them now. They'll be stored away for winter. They won't run them in winter. They're too nicer cars to kind of ride off in a sense. You want to keep them in one piece, and parts would be hard to come across for those kind of cars. Like, you could get them, but, how much of a shit fight are you going through?
A lot of them are like handmade now. You got to know a guy.
Yeah.
Rare spares won't do the trick.
Yeah, as much as they might direct you to the guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, it could get a bit hard to repair those older cars. But it's great to see them out. Going from that...
Yeah, we'll jump into F3.
Yep.
And the first thing that happened really on Friday morning when they rode out for practice, I think it might have been halfway through, was a massive incident between Nikola
Tizlov.
Yeah, same thing, yeah.
Good way to butcher the pronunciation. Yeah.
I've just read it then. And this caused a red flag, which pretty much ended their one and only practice. Basically, Nikola just drove straight in the side there of Alex, riding both cars off. His punishment was a 3-place group penalty for the feature race, I think it was, or it might have been the sprint race. Anyway, it was pretty much...
Either way, he served it at Australia.
Yeah. Oh, no, so next race which he competes... Okay, that's from an old article, so I'm going to presume that is...
Australia, yeah.
But, pretty widely condemned incident. Seemed like I'm not all over what's happening in F3 at the moment, but apparently there's a bit of history between those two, and that led to that incident.
Yeah.
And then that leads us into the first sprint race, which was won by... Well, I've just mixed the 2 articles up.
Yeah, man, it's smart. So the first sprint race was won by... apologise for butchering this enunciation. Stenhorn, I believe is his last name. So Martinus Stenshorn.
Yep.
So they had a safety car late in the race, and that was actually his maiden victory too. Yeah.
No, so that was pretty much... It was your pretty standard F3 race for that one. That was... you had your couple of offs and all that. Where things get spicy is with the feature race. So, straight off the bat, lights go out, and 2 cars are into the pit lane wall. Real Romain Grosjean style.
Who was sitting in the pit lane as that happened? Because there was someone sitting in the pit lane there, wasn't there?
Yeah, and they had to awkwardly drive around it. And I feel like they just had it because they're like, I've got to go around the white line in order not to run over debris, but I don't want a penalty for crossing the white line.
I mean, that would be an easy exemption to argue, though. It's like, hey, these 2 cars wrote themselves off, and I have stayed here for well and truly long enough, and, engineering the ear and everything to say it's clear, go. So you'd have a good case if anyone did kick up a fuss, but no one did, fortunately.
Yeah, nah. I'm pretty sure he found a way across the grass anyway, so...
Yeah.
That's it. Dino... Oh, God, I'm going to butcher this too. bigger than Ash. You want to have a crack at that?
Alright, so we've got Premier's Racing's Dino Begonovich
There you
came
go.
through from third on the grid to seal his first ever F3 victory in the Melbourne feature race, Grand Prix feature race. So, good on him. We've got a little rundown from the F3 FIA site. He led away from pole, staying ahead of the Prema pair of Mini and Begonovich. So Begonovich was once again up there. That's good. He must have been having a good weekend besides anything he got caught up in. And then, yeah, so he had a maiden victory. That's really good. Well, I believe maiden victory at Melbourne. I'm not too sure about the rest
I've got
of
a
his
feeling
career.
that the name doesn't sound familiar, and I'm not like I've been all over F2 and F3 since Oscar left, but I'm normally I would recognise the name.
Yeah, and we've actually got sorry to cut you off there. We've actually got a quote from Dino here. So it's a short one. Winning in Melbourne, it feels great to bounce back like this after Bahrain. Very good points in the bag. So very happy with the race today, which was about management and the fastest lap as well, if I'm not wrong. So very good feeling heading into the little break.
Oh, that's good.
So
we'll keep an eye on him for the rest of the season. So from F3 we'll jump to F2.
Yeah.
Nothing real major in practice of qualifying. The sprint race was won by Isaac.
Yeah.
Hadja.
Hadja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he fought until he was later penalised. So I'll pull up the story here to find out what exactly he did to receive this penalty.
Yeah.
He was handed a 10-second penalty after the compost driver was found to cause a collision with teammate at the start of the race. Okay. So that'd be, I think, yeah, he somehow caused a series of events that led to those two cars hitting the pit lane.
Yeah.
That led to those two cars hitting the pit lane wall. So that stripped him down to, I think...
Oh, yeah, I do actually remember that. He just started pressuring into where there was no space and
it was very,
no one could move.
It was very with Ramon Grosjean's accident where he clipped the front wing of, I think it might have been Magnussen, and that just rotated one car, except there was another car next to him, so it rotated two.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see where that dropped him down to. I think it dropped him down to 7th. Something like that. Dropped him down to 6th. So he lost his victory there.
Yeah.
And with that was this the one where we had the accident at turn 10? Not turn 10, turn 11? No, it must be in the sprint race. So, the feature race. So in the feature race we saw... in the feature race, we did see Hadja come back for that win and claimed it and kept it this time.
Yeah.
But a big story throughout all of Formula 2 at the moment is Kimi Antonelli, who is the Mercedes Junior. And he's been tipped on the shoulder to be possibly Lewis's replacement, with Toto having an idea of thinking in 18 months' time. This is all prior to Lewis announcing he's leaving from the team at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And since then, it's been a rough one since Kimi. So the Premier team, both him and his teammate Behrman, just the team got the setup wrong in Bahrain. They were nowhere. Obviously, Behrman was out of the race for F2 in Jeddah. I think Kimi had a couple accidents. Kimi was nowhere in the sprint race by the looks of it. And then in the feature race, he came together with O'Sullivan and Roman Starnak and had a big off at it doesn't say which corner it was, but it's if we were 10, 11, it would have been turn 12. Yeah, here we go. Wide moment Maloney at turn 12. Yeah. So rough on him. I guess he's not like a bad driver. He skipped F3. He's won a bunch of other titles in junior category, including Formula Regional 4. So I think just all the eyes of the world at the moment going, could this be then the kid that replaces Lewis Hamilton isn't helping him?
So we'll go into supercars now. Do you
Yep.
want to go into
So I'm loading up
supercars?
the first
So
one.
we'll
Well, you go on.
race. So we'll go start off with race 3.
Race 3 or championship race. Oh no, this is
championship race 3.
Yeah, sorry, yep.
Yeah, it's race 3. We got Feeney and Will Brown taking 1-2. Feeney first, Brown second. They're championship leaders, the both of them, I believe.
Yeah, they've been trading the orange numbers all weekend.
Yeah, so
they literally were swapping the championship lead throughout every race.
That's insane. Just being that evenly matched, and they're good teammates. I think when it comes down to the wire, they'll definitely be. I don't know. Just they'll really think for themselves. They'll play team now, and still think about themselves, but they're in winning cars. So,
well, Rusty, who was running the commentary at the track for GPTV, had an interesting thought about how sometimes just losing a championship can make you so much more hungrier for it, and he cited really the incident of Scotty Mack losing it in 2017 by a couple of points and a post-race penalty to Jamie, and how much that just made him just a beast for the following 3 years till he left to go to IndyCar.
Yeah.
And Rusty was making the point of, could this be now Will? Will had the championship lead. He had a slip up at the bend, and then Brody just ran away with it. And now Will knows what it's like to lose one that he legitimately could have won.
Yeah.
So there was nothing too crazy in race 3, as there typically isn't for the Thursday race at Albert Park.
Everyone kind of just wants to get home and keep their car straight.
Pretty much.
Basically, is the idea.
Especially this year where they are so compromised. They're in the infield. They're so far away from their trucks. As we'll get into later, I was looking for a little bit that a couple of cars might not make the final races. So they really took it easy. If we jump to race 4, championship race 4, Albert Park race 2.
Yeah.
Bit of a turn of phrase. Will wins this one. And this is the one where it was going to be another 1-2 until I think it was the second last lap. Brock just had like a brain fade and went off at turn 4, which opened the door for Frosty.
Yeah, and Frosty came through to take second, yeah.
Yeah, to claim a podium. And not just Frosty, and Matt Payne got behind him too. So Matt Payne is... was that his first podium of the weekend? Might have been his only.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, he took himself out after running for another one.
Yeah.
So...
We'll get to that in a minute, but this was the race where at some point he hit the wall with the wheel, and it wasn't until after the race they realised that 3 spokes were missing out of that wheel and had been cracked. So the fact that he even managed to limp it home was something else. This is Will Brown did. Will Brown, sorry, I'm skipping that. I had a brain fade. So that was pretty much. Let me have a quick read. Tell you on shit we should have done before we started recording. Read the fucking material.
Nah, man, it's better to go through it, just raw dogging it.
Yeah, mate, prime content. So where?
That's right, mate. All done for you to finish coughing.
I'm sorry. Let me die in peace. So that's where it gets spicy. So where it gets really spicy is when we get to race 5. So this is a race where Matt Payne. This is a race where Cam Waters starts on pole. And it's a fight with him and Matt Payne all the way through at turn 10. So at turn 11, Matt Payne shoots up the inside, nice and clean but tight. Cam didn't really see it coming. Then 2 corners later at turn 13, the second last corner, Cam
Big
gives him
note
a
as
bit
well. It's a Ford 1-2.
yeah, it's a forward one too. Cam gives Payne a bit of a touch up, trying to do a bit of a bump and run, throw him off a bit.
Gizzy style, yep.
Yeah, Gizzy style. By this point, both rebels are under attack. Will Brown can
They
smell
sniff
blood in the
blood.
water, and so he's
Yeah.
getting prime. Uh, Matt. So coming into the final corner, Cam goes to the outside. Matt is trying to cover the line, but then decides to go to the outside to open up the line a little bit more to get better traction and try and build some space between Will Brown and Feeney not far behind. Completely does not see Cam Waters next to him. The two cars touch, and it is just an airplane crash from there. Waters pretty much ends up almost on the side. Payne gets spun around. It was a real rush to see if they could fix that number 6 car. It was just a mess. It could be a nice, easy Ford 1-2, and they just threw it away.
Yeah. And there's no one to blame but themselves, because that's just how it was. And it was only a 10-lap race too. And for these cars, it's about, I think, around the minute 50 for a lap around Albert Park.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah. So, they only had to hold off for at most 15 minutes or 16 minutes or whatever. Just find some rhythm and do their thing, They fight later. Once you pass the Red Bulls and you maybe get a gap or you get a bit more comfortable, then sure, fight for position. But trashing your race like that, it's just, it's no good. And then to top it off, well, it wasn't a total waste, only because Ned Whiskey then came out with a discount code called Salty Cam. And that was for free shipping. I don't know if that is still valid, but if it is, if you like Ned's, go check that out. That might work for you. If not,
another podcast making the note that they missed a prime opportunity not to make the code Salty Waters.
Oh yeah, that is good.
Apparently, I haven't read the article. Apparently, Monster did give Tifford the option if they want to fire back to do so, and decided they didn't want to do that.
Why not? It's all good. It's all marketing at the end of the day. Not too many people would take it to heart.
Yeah. So following this crash, Cam gets out of the car and storms over to Matt Payne's
passenger side. Yeah.
Well, see, I didn't realise it was the passenger side on the TV screen. So from my point of view, I hadn't realised Matt had spun. So Cam opens the door, and I'm thinking it's a driver's door, and then the passenger side door opens, and Matt's climbing out, and my brain's thinking,
like he just Matt shuffled across, shit himself,
escape from water.
Yeah, just bricking it on his way out the bloody other side of the car.
Yeah, so we didn't get to see the Fox coverage. I haven't watched it yet. We only got to see the GP coverage, but they Rusty did manage to catch Payne back in the paddock. And I like, man. I did like how open Matt was, where he just said straight up that it is what it is now, and he knows how he's gonna race Cam for the rest of the year. He gets the image, and who knows, this could be quite a nice little rivalry.
It could. I hope it does blossom, and it will actually. Next time we get the opportunity to see that, we'll be at Taupo, so on Payne's home turf. Taupo, sorry. It will be on Payne's home turf. So, if shit hits the fan...
the
big Marys... he's going to need an Australian security escort. He's not going to have a big Marys there protecting him. They'll be bloody throwing him in the water.
Can we just appreciate how good he's become? Because when he first came in the series, he's done really well on Porsches, but how's he going to go? And then for the first half of the year, he struggled, and he got better, and then at Adelaide, he just fired up.
Yeah.
And he seems like he started this year just firing up. And
he's just like, I want this. He got a bit of drive behind him, a fire under his ass.
Well, put it this way, like, do you know who's one person I haven't thought about both weekends, both the Bathurst weekend and this weekend at the Grand Prix? One person I haven't thought about is
Yeah.
his teammate, Richie Stanaway, who won
No, he's
Bathurst
been
last year.
quiet.
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
outperforming that much, you forget Richie's there. And this is like
Yeah, you do.
last year's Bathurst winner, and someone that they hyped and hyped and hyped and hyped. And like,
Yeah,
I haven't
absolutely.
I wasn't until I was writing down the results earlier today that I thought, oh yeah, Richie Stanaway's racing this year, and he's Matt Payne's teammate.
Yeah.
I haven't given him a single thought.
No, and hopefully he does maybe do what Matt has done and just take a year to learn these tracks, learn the car, learn how to set up these cars properly. Just get amongst it a lot more, and then next year, hopefully, Matt Payne and him come firing out of the Grove garage, just absolutely meaning business.
Well, I've said it for
That'd
years.
be really good to
I've
see.
said it since Groves brought in watched this team because the Groves family, they mean racing. Like, they do GT stuff.
Oh yeah,
They seem really keen.
they live for it. They absolutely
They seem
live for it.
really keen to put the money in, to put the effort and employ the right people.
Yeah, get the drivers developed, get the crews developed for like your pit stop crew, your engineers, everyone, just all the right people. And they would have good contacts because of how richly indebted they are into racing. Yeah, they're, as far as I know, a great family. Would love to catch up with some of them one day just to say, hey,
Yeah,
just tell us some stuff.
Just get in the vibe, because no, I feel like if out of all the people that could have brought Kelly Racing, and the vibe that team had, I feel like they're the right people. But before we'll move on to race 6. But before we do, a little bit of mention of, like, it was a big fix to fix both of them cars, especially the number 6 that really copped it. I think the Tickford boys
all-nighters or good. Yeah.
It was a
and
late
then they would
one,
have just
and
maybe.
more spewing. That was a brand new car. Like, that was a brand new chassis.
New chassis.
And
Rusty was saying on the coverage. Yeah, Rusty was saying on the coverage, when you get a new chassis and everything kind of stock and not tweaked and all that, it's not all just a mess from 3 races ago. I'm sure they cover everything, but they might.
It's just something magical.
It's just fresh.
You can build 2 identical chassis, and for some reason, some will work, some won't. Look at SVG last year. He changed chassis, and you still having dramas.
Yeah, he was having a rough.
He hated last year.
Oh yeah, he couldn't get out of supercars fast enough. I mean, if he could have blown his contract to pieces mid-year, he probably would have. But he did that in the sense of
like the weekend after Adelaide. Like, he was not.
Yeah. He wasn't here to stay around. But leading us into race 6, in race 5 we actually had Percat finish 8th, and then come race 6 race 6 at a championship, so 4th race of the
last race
Australian
of the
Grand Prix weekend.
Race.
Yeah,
this was the
we
real
actually had Percat come through. Yeah. And this was great to watch. Dan and I were sitting in our chairs all giddy, loving every second of it, seeing a bloody MS Matt Stone racing car get up there. It was just good. And then it was a great race. Nick Percat won it fair and square. He actually lost it at one point, I believe.
Yeah, I think was Will Brown that got up the inside at turn 11.
11, yeah.
Thought, the Rebels going to walk away now, but no. Percat shot it back up the inside at 12. Fought him through 13 and 15, and just hung on. And that was sweet.
Awesome.
He clenched the win, and then, strangely enough, we were sitting there waiting for the car to go by, and maybe he's taking an extra slow lap in, because it's been a long time for a win since before him, and it's been rough, 18 months, a real Daniel Ricciardo sort of time
kind of
where
vibe.
it's
Yeah,
just not working. And then
yeah,
when he finally comes around our part of the track, he's getting pushed along like the king at the end of cars by Tim Slade because he's running out of fuel.
yeah. They obviously ran it, so they just had minimal fuel, and I don't believe there was a safety car in that race. Let me just check.
Pretty sure there wasn't. I can't think of it.
Da-da-da-da.
I know. I
No.
know Cam Hill went off on the last lap at turn 4. He got, I think, De Pasquale
Yeah.
nudged him off,
Yeah.
but that was it. I think that was
Yes.
one of the 2 races where we didn't have any safety cars or full course
Yeah.
cautions.
And at the end of that race, that also concluded Will Brown's getting the Larry Perkins Trophy for the most points acquired across the weekend. So that would be a really cool trophy to have. I would actually like to find the design of that trophy.
I believe it's vaguely based off like the Grand Prix trophy, not to be the same, but sort of the same vibe.
Yeah, it would be an awesome trophy to have in the cabinet. I believe it's Will Brown's first Larry Perkins Trophy too. I don't think he got that last year.
No one has won it twice yet.
Okay, yeah.
It's only been a championship round since 2018. Before that was all just exhibitions.
Yeah. So with the supercars just about concluded, I think that there was only one last thing of the WAU and MSR. I guess
alleged physical altercation. That's what they're describing it as on Speedcaf.
Yeah.
So this all, from my understanding, steams over from. So MSR and Walkinshaw Andretti United have had their cars have been tangling all event. In fact, reading the article here, I believe it was actually Ryan Wood. Yeah, Ryan Wood ended wasn't I believe that. Yeah, Ryan Wood's clash with Cam Hill ended his race, and that seems to be more what they believe started here. But on top of that too was, of course, of course, Nick got asked about the last 2 years and how good it is to finally have a win back on the board, and pretty much not thinking, he just said, "Oh, it's great to be back on top." Blah blah blah. I hated every second of the last 2 years with that mob, which would have gone down really well.
I mean, he made sure to burn that bridge properly. You don't say that and not know the full consequences.
Yeah, he won't be coming back
bridge.
as a co-driver in a couple of years' time. If and when he retires. So just reading the report here, just to keep it nice and fair and not try and speculate or try and do it off the top of my head. But Matt Stone Racing lodged a complaint with Supercars about an alleged physical altercation between Matt Stone Racing communication staffer Slade Perrins, Perrins, and Walkinshaw Andretti United CEO Bruce Stewart. Something to do with heat discussions. I believe all that's really been alleged is pushing. So we're not talking like a brawl or fight or anything like that. It's just to be an argument and led to a push. But so that concludes a very dramatic time of supercars. Now we'll jump into the main event. Ash, do you want to run us through Logan Sargent and why he's not on the grid?
Well, Logan Sargent wasn't on the grid throughout after practice 2, I believe.
Practice 1.
Practice 1. Yeah, so after
he did practice 2, but he wasn't swapped until practice 3.
Yeah, so Albon decided, because it's his birthday weekend, he would put his car into the wall and just ping pong down the track. And he came out all fine and safe and all this, they've got the technology that doesn't even leave a bruise. And so they rode off the chassis, basically. He rode off the chassis, and Williams are like, shit, we're in Australia. It's not like we have a spare chassis on hand to go through all the processes with FIA and all this and that. And Albon being the better driver of the two, no doubt there. they kicked out Logan Sargent for Saturday and Sunday. So the rest of the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently, I
So
was hearing a little bit more about this. So they're currently working on third chassis, which was meant to be the spare, which now become will now become Alex's new car. But apparently, what's his name? Black from Mercedes, he went across.
James Vowes.
Yes, thank you. Apparently, James Vowes was saying like one of the many things, like, so Williams is doing a lot of work at Williams just to streamline a lot of the older stuff that has never got updated. And one of them is apparently the whole part ordering system is run by Microsoft Excel.
Oh God!
And that's not just simple as putting in Winnet and front wing B. That's like just a component. There's like 300 individual pieces of said front wing, so you got to order 300 individual pieces. So that's the big parts issue.
Yeah, I'd love to see if Williams get some more points, get a good cut of prize money, and just be able to pour money into their development to just get the finer things like that. Because that's what Red Bull, Mercedes, Aston Martin, they'll all have the highest tech or whatever, all the stuff to simplify the small stuff, and then they can focus on the actual car development and everything else.
That's what Vowes was saying after about 6 months last year when he completed his assessment of Williams of where the team went wrong is in like 2014, 15, they had all the latest things, and that was also where they worked really well to about 2017, and then they just never upgraded. And so what he's basically putting the team through now is he's trying to say, I'm going to put the team through... Should have had that garlic bread. He says he's going to try to put the team through 2 or 3 years of hell, just doing the hard things, like putting in new CMC machines, like putting in new programs and systems and all that, with the idea being come 2026 everything should be working. So I reckon watch this team 2026 2027 it's got to be like a new team.
Yeah, and hopefully they are, because such a rich history. Hopefully they can just be even better and just get up there, get the prize money, get more sponsors on board, and like they've got plenty of sponsors, but you compare their car to a Red Bull car or something, and that can all fund. There is the price cap, spending cap, but that can all fund employee bonuses, so it can be incentive for employees to think outside the box more in terms of aero or how this part is made or how we drive around the track even. Throw more incentives in, maybe better better programs to run stuff if they do get someone in that tech field helping them out.
Just about building up. So anyway, that was the end of Logan's weekend, which I don't know how much you noticed, but I did notice on the halo it still had the American flag. So I think they just pulled off. I think it just pulled off anywhere where it said Sergeant and swapped the numbers.
Yeah, they had bigger things to worry about, like packing up Albon's car and shit, so it's,
Alright, so we'll move on. So that was the only real big thing to come out of practice. Qualifying, Max Verstappen. No surprises there. Max put on pole alongside Carlos Sainz.
Actually breaking an all-time track record while they did it too, I believe, in the 1 minute 15s.
Yes.
And that will only get faster throughout the years as cars have developed more. We might even see 1 minute 12s in a few years or whatever.
Another thing too is the track changes, I think, cut 5 odd seconds out of the old track.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
So, with that, Oscar Piastri P6. And Ricciardo did have a time good enough to make Q2, but then lost it due to the track limit, so he was starting P18. We were only getting 1 lap in. You want to take us through Do you want to take us through the first lap, Ash?
Of
the Grand Prix.
The race?
Yeah.
The Grand Prix. So, the first race... Oh, wow, I got to find... I don't know. They drove fast, if that's what you're asking.
Oh. Well, I know
I don't have the details, but everyone took off as they per usually do. Everyone made it through cleanly, perfectly clean as far as
Max
I can
took
remember.
off into the sunset, as he normally does.
Yep, which was beautiful to see. And we're like, all right, race is on from second onwards. And we had put up a poll to ask everyone, who do we think will get the highest position?
Besides
and
Max.
I had made it, except for Supermax, because it was kind of a given. And by lap 2, there's a bit of whisper going around, on the GP, and, right in front of us, the arse end of Max's car just goes up in smoke. The cheers were unreal.
Even before that, because just before he really started smoking, he clearly had an issue. But we didn't know that because the GP TV's probably got a 3-second delay. So from our point of view, it's like the second or third lap, and we're waiting to see just Max, Carlos, Leclerc. And suddenly, there's Carlos, then Max. So we were all confused, and then we saw on the TV that Carlos had just shot up the inside at the chicane, followed by the complaints of something's not working, and then the smoke, and the cheers of everyone as Max went by smoking from the right rear tyre.
Yeah. And then he made his way into the pits safely. And you could tell he was DNF at that point. I believe in the pits as well, not just in the laneway, like leading into it, not where the actual garages are. His tyre blew out there.
Yeah, what happened according to Red Bull was that the brake had never released. So the right rear brake was on the whole time like a handbrake.
Yeah.
And
it's a testament to how fast he is, given he got away still with a rear brake on.
Yeah. So that was the end of that. But on lap 17, Lewis pulls up, actually right in front of us, to retire with an engine issue.
Yeah.
And then after that, the race was pretty cruisy. Oscar and Lando on alternate strategies. Oscar was up in the third, but Lando had stopped later. Lando had stopped earlier, so it was quicker. Oscar did the hard but right thing, let Lando through, and it was clearly the right decision because Lando was just gone to the sunset. Oscar couldn't even keep up to hang on to DRS. And the race began to settle down as any hopes of Oscar catching Lando and becoming the first Australian to stand on the podium slowly died out. Until the beginning of the second last lap, which is when the TV coverage cuts to a Mercedes on its side.
George Russell, yes.
Yeah, so George...
that was at turn 3, I believe.
Turn 6.
Turn 6?
Turn 6.
Fair.
So, George had lost control, pretty much identical to what Albon did a couple of years ago, and just slammed into the wall and slid the car into the track, and that caused a VSC, a safety car, which ended the race. With only one lap to go. Now, the odd thing about this is, it seemed a little sweet, George was pushing too much and lost the rear end until a few hours later when Fernando Alonso was penalised for the action.
Post-race penalty, yeah.
So, it's a little bit... I've tried reading through it. It's a little bit confusing behind their reasoning. Basically, their reasoning was that Fernando took a different line and something different than what he'd done every other lap.
A different braking pattern and shit.
Apparently, he braked 100 metres earlier than what he had for the last 30 laps prior. So, it was really strange. They gave him a 20-second penalty, which dropped him to 8th.
Yeah.
And it's gone down like a lead balloon because a lot of people aren't really, including myself. Sometimes I see the logic and sometimes I don't because I don't know how deliberate was it, But that that's the first time it's been a double DNF.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, so first Mercedes double DNF in I think since Spain 2016.
Is that with the one and only Nico Rosberg and?
Yes, I believe is when they hit each other.
Yeah.
And that's the first time that both Max and Lewis have been out since Italy 2021 when they hit each other.
Yeah, so reliability issues really coming through at Australia.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is weird because it's only the third round of the thing, but these cars are pushed to the limits, so it's to be expected.
Mm. Yeah, I think just Mercedes got a lot of work to get back to where they were. I see why Lewis is leaving to chase a different dream.
Yeah.
But moving on from that, Carlos Sainz, 2 weeks on from having his appendix removed, still with the staples and bandages on. He wins the Australian Grand Prix for Scuderia Ferrari, followed close behind his teammate Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris from McLaren. Oscar finishes 4th, just 1 spot off the podium. Ricciardo slowly clawed his way back to 12th, which is, considering where he started, commendable effort. Still a little bit concerned. There's been a lot of chat because Ayahuasca is stepping into his car for FP1 at the next round in Japan. I think everyone's panicking a little bit too much because all teams must run a rookie throughout the year. Ayahuasca is very popular in Japan, obviously, as well as Yuki. So it just makes commercial sense to do it there. And typically it's been Liam Lawson, but because Liam Lawson's done more than 2 Grand Prix, he's no longer eligible for the rookie tests.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. I think a lot of people are reading a little bit too into it. This rumour, from what I've heard from journos, is this rumour about the ultimatum about being on pace by Miami has no basis. But it is Red Bull.
Yeah.
But one thing about sacking Ricciardo that it is for any other driver is he's so commercially viable, it's crazy. That even for a team that's struggling to score points anyway, to have Ricciardo unperforming is still a commercial success than what it would be to have another driver, such as Logan Sargent, in that seat performing where Ricciardo can't. But hopefully he does pull it together because otherwise this will be his last Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah, and I'd love to see him in another one next year, accompanied by Lewis in red. That would
that ship done
cool
fast.
Just to see.
He had his option in 2018 and that ship sailed, unfortunately. Final thoughts on the Australian Grand Prix overall?
Overall, great experience. I am glad that it didn't rain or anything and just make it a mud fest. It was just a bit dusty, but that's by the by. Good weather for it and all that too. Good atmosphere and stuff. I do believe you were saying you jumped by the fan forum when they had a couple drivers up there, and it was very DTS-y. And I use that with this.
That in the sense of crowd chanting "Rate that mullet" during the interview with Valtteri Bottas.
And I guess that's all entertainment purposes.
I stayed there for half hour and I was like, I'm gone. I get entertainment, I get fun, but this is hurting me.
Yeah, but I would and that also that kind of thing relates back to our night with Gunther Steiner on the Wednesday night before it all kicked off. Was I'd thought I'd put in a couple of great bloody questions. Like one of them, my best example would be, Gunther, what is one piece of motorsport memorabilia from your career that you've acquired that has the most meaning? That didn't get asked, but someone named themselves Gene Haas and asked Gunther where his bloody laptop was, and that got through, which is all good and well once again.
I'll stand by the Gene Haas ones. They were funny. That along with the blatant slights against Horner, just Gunther Steiner kicking him while he's down.
Yeah. So all in all, great weekend. We'll continue to do it as long as I can afford it. because prices only go up and never go down.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I loved it. What about your thoughts?
I'm real on the fence about what I'm going to do next year because I liked where we were. I liked where we were for the racing. I hated where we were for anything off track because everything else was a mission. Like we wanted to meet up with Kim Illman after FP1, but
Yeah.
it takes about half hour to get across the bridge when there's a crowd. So we just shit can that whole idea.
Yeah, hot box bridge and yeah.
And then you got to get across that little access road to the Melbourne Walk. Melbourne Walk, I'm happy I did in 2019 because I don't think I'll ever see it again. And there's a rumour that's going to become a paid thing as well, which is probably actually not the worst idea considering how many people are running. Like I can tell you from just an insurance point, like one day someone's going to fall down those stairs and eat it, and it's just going to be...
Yeah.
I don't know. They got to figure
it out. If I was to charge though, if they're gonna charge, they charge $10, no more.
Yeah.
You charge because it's real fans that want to do it. You make it nice and cheap, accessible. Once the tickets are gone, they're gone. But you just mostly say 10 or 50 or the bare minimum to cover the insurance of someone eating shit while running.
Yeah. Oh no, even just like back in the golden days when I had this advanced gold system, we got early access, and that was probably only a couple thousand people had the gold thing. So it was still the running and all that, but it was a lot less people than just whoever was at the gate. So I don't know. There's got to be a better way to do things. These prices, they'll never come down, but then it stabilise. We've gone ahead and got the token because we missed out for the last 2 years. I'm sick of it. But I didn't really want to do that. I didn't really want to cave to that, to what they want. In fact, I actually did the
But they force your hand.
Yeah, I did the post-race survey. It took about 25 minutes. You would have... maybe you would have gone because I brought the tickets. But literally, one of the questions were, how interested would you be in a night-only ticket for the music events? I was like, no. Music's a good add-on, but don't try and make this a festival. And maybe book, like, Amy Shark was good.
It already is festival enough.
But she was on Friday night. And then the rest of them, I didn't know any of them.
And she should have maybe been after it.
So, see, Birds of Tokyo, Sunday night, that was a good book.
And they didn't play it through. Yeah, it was. That was great. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But
I know they got some work to do.
That's all I think we have.
Yeah, I think that's all we have. I hope you enjoyed this experience remotely. We're going to be playing around with this a little bit more just to make the podcast more easier for us, as well as if this whole video thing works.
Yeah,
we'll be uploading a video version of the podcast to YouTube. Until next time, we'll see you again.
Thanks for listening.